What up, y'all? Today we taking it from the Bronx to Bordeaux for a very special episode set in the heart of one of the world's most revered wine regions. I was granted unprecedented access to the Queen Bee of Bordeaux, Saskia Rothschild, chairwoman of the highly coveted first growth Chateau Lafite Rothschild, for an in-depth interview that started in the barrel room but took us all over the chateau. The realest part to me was that Saskia knows her stuff. Not only how it relates to wine, but also how that plays in with rhymes. So join us as we talk about wine, hip hop, everything between, and just delve into how down to earth things really are in the region. So to my hip hop community, I asked everyone, if you could pick a rapper that embodies your style and your spirit, what rapper would that be?
Wow, that's a difficult question.
We just gonna start it off like
okay, start it
nice
off. But so no, my introduction to hip hop, and we were mentioning this before. So I was when I was a teenager. So when I'd say 96, 97, 98, those years, and I have to say that the songs that marked me the most, well, it was of course Notorious B.I.G. It was the Wu-Tang, A Tribe Called Quest that I really liked actually. And then in those years, I have to say that there was this, the one of Jay-Z's, I think it was one of his first songs, which was It's a Hard Knock Life. That was really, to me, like probably the song. I had a yellow Discman by Sony that you could carry and put your hand in. And I would listen to that uninterruptedly. And then the other person that I really love, I wouldn't consider her a rapper, but it was Lauryn Hill.
Oh.
And so the Miseducation album of Lauryn Hill was also one of the albums I listened to on repeat for a long time. And so
yeah. No, Lauryn. I will say, I think I'll say Lauryn's probably the best female rapper. But it's funny because on the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, she was really one of the first people blending singing and rapping. At that time, no other rappers were really doing that. But when Lauryn decides to rap, she'll take your head off.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we have some amazing wine here today. I brought the rhymes. You brought the wines.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit about what we're drinking?
So Chateau Lafite, I don't know how familiar you all are with it. So it's the great thing about wine, and you of course know it, is us humans were a little part of the equation. Basically, most of the job is being done by nature, and so when we walk outside the cellar, we have this incredible hill that is gravel, and that is what makes Lafite and what makes its identity. And Chateau Lafite is always seen in Pauillac and in the first groves as the most delicate of the first groves. The most, maybe you have Latour and Mouton that can be a little bit more powerful. We are never in the sense of going into a wine of power. And I think that's really the identity of Lafite, is being this like tightrope walker of a wine that's always looking for balance and always like, it will never be the first. I always do the analogy of someone in a party, Lafite is not the first person you notice, but it will be the person you remember at the end of the night. Yeah. And I think that's really what I love about this wine, and I was educated to it since my early age. My dad taught us to drink wine very early on, since I was 9 or 10, doing a lot of blind tasting, a lot of immersing ourselves in understanding the differences of a vintage or another one, and that kept with me. I had another career. I lived in New York actually for 2 years, and then one day I lived in West Africa in Ivory Coast. And then one day I came back to Pauillac and went back to school to study viticulture and enology, and since then been making wine here.
Wow, that is something serious, I have to say. Did you always intend to get into this side of the business?
I don't think so. What I wanted to do was write. So I wanted to write stories. That's why I was a journalist. I worked at the New York Times for 4 years.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to tell stories and share the realities of what's happening around the world. And I think that in a way, with wine, it came back to me because it's such an extraordinary family history, and I felt I knew it, and I felt that I could protect it. And I
Yeah.
think that that's why I decided, okay, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to go from a very free life, living around the world and doing a one-man band job, to actually having the duty of pursuing a family history. So it was a really difficult decision, but I don't regret it. And no, it's wonderful to take Lafite into the next era, because at the end of the day, you know, the time that I'll be here is so short compared to what the story of this wine is. So it's
true.
very
Wow.
humbling.
That
in a
is
way.
that's a really interesting way to approach it, I have to say.